when it comes to how do we structure a book, how do we outline a book, there are lots of different ways that we can do that. And in all honesty, there is no wrong or right way. There is a way that suits you better and a way that suits me better. And when you find out what your way is, which by the way, you only find out if you just start doing it, then you use what works for you. But what I have found has worked for me, and working with people who are particularly experts who are writing non-fiction books for their field of expertise, is I found that there is a kind of a method for outlining and structuring that really helped me get my books out fast. One of my books, my first book I wrote and published within 72 hours. And a lot of my other books I've managed to completely produce from scratch within a week using this particular structure. What I do first of all is I think, what is my topic? What's the kind of main one thing I want to teach? What is the one thing, skill or piece of knowledge I want people to come away from reading this book with? Once I've got that focus on the topic, then we go and do some research. And I first of all think in tips. And this is also how I teach people how to create their own online courses as well. I think what happens when we start thinking about all the content we could include in a book or in a course, we go into research overdrive, and the overwhelm of the sheer amount of information is just what stops most people getting anywhere at all. So if we think in tips, it makes things a little bit more minuscule, makes things a little bit more manageable and easy to kind of attack. So I always think, let's just go and grab a bunch of Post-it notes, and I want you to dump on each Post-it note a tip that you have in that particular area of expertise. The first thing I get people to do is just brain dump, just go absolutely nuts, stick the timer on for 30 minutes, and you've got to put one tip on one Post-it note and just stick them all on the wall. Just get it all out of your head and everywhere. And the more messy it is, the better it is often. The next step we want to do is then go through the archives of our brain, remind our brain, poke it, wake it up of all the other things that it knows as well. I tend to use a number of different research methods to really fast grab even more tips that I know how to teach. A couple of clever little ways. There is an amazing free website called answerthepublic.com. This basically curates all of the questions that people are typing into Google right now at a certain search volume per day. Type in your topic, your keyword, or the thing that you want to write your book about or create your course about, and it will actually produce and show you the questions that people are actually asking about that topic right now. Your book's written for you. You basically then have all of the tips that you can explain or give. You also have all of the questions that people are currently asking. Then what I do is I grab my Google Doc. Now I prefer to work and write my books in Google Docs because I can access it from any device. What I do is I take the tips or the questions that people are asking, and I simply put them as the header on their own individual pages. That's the first thing I do, so that every blank page simply has a tip or a question at the top of it. The next thing I do is I then go through and I answer that question or give that tip. And at this stage, I don't worry about proper writing. I don't worry about proper grammar. I just get it down. I get as much information out as I possibly can. Now, a lot of people don't know, to get this out as fast as I can, most of you might be able to tell, I'm a bit of a speaker. I like to talk, and I can definitely speak faster than I type. So I actually use Google Docs free voice typing tool. If any of you have got your Google Docs on your phone or on your computer, there's actually a little microphone underneath the tools section. Very quickly. Once I've gone through and answered all the questions and given all the tips, then I start to add a little bit of personality or character to the book. This would be where maybe I can relate that tip that I'm giving or that question that I'm answering to a personal experience that I've been through. I found that people really connect better with you as an expert, as an influencer, as a coach or a consultant, if they know a bit about you at the same time as you're teaching them something that's valuable to them. Let's pretend my tip is something to do in leadership. I might actually open that tip with a story about when I was in X leadership situation and I went through this and this happened to me. And here's actually what I learned. And here's now the thing that I want to share with you in terms of what you can apply to your world. And you get that beautiful combination of storytelling that people are captivated by. They get to know you as the expert, who you are, and they connect better to you as an individual, but they're also getting the tip as well as subtly the context in which it can be best applied to. So once I've gone through and done all of that, you will find that very quickly you will have a book, 50 pages with 50 tips where you answer that question or give that tip in 2 pages. It's going to give you a 100-page book, and that is certainly enough to go ahead and create a full print version as well. My first ever book, I pushed my baby up and down the supermarket mall, just speaking out my book on the microphone, going into Google Docs. Boom, done.